today, what we're going to do is talk about basically the things you need to know about dementia when you're interacting with people with dementia or you're delivering care to people with dementia, because it's not like taking care of somebody with a fully functioning brain. And I think sometimes delivering care or going in and talking to people, we presume that it's going to be very similar to what it would be with someone with a fully functioning brain. And dementia is basically, well, there's actually 106 different types of dementia. But when we look at all of them, they're a disease of the brain and they break down brain tissue. So it's important to remember that a person with dementia often has areas of their brain that are no longer functioning, and the brain itself is shrinking. And by the end of the journey, the brain will be very small and the abilities will be very, very limited. At the beginning of the disease, it's just starting off. And so you see certain changes happen, usually early on, and then they just get worse as they go down the journey. So basically, there's 106 different types of dementia. A lot of them are quite rare, so you would never encounter them. However, the majority of them that you will probably know with the elderly would be Alzheimer's disease. It would be vascular dementia, of which there are several different types. It might be Lewy body dementia. It could be frontal lobe dementia. And another one that's quite common in the elderly is something called 𝗻𝗵𝗴𝗍𝗶 dementia, which is just purely lack of B1 in the diet. And if you don't get B1 in your diet for a sustained period of time, B1 is essential to your brain. So you will have a lot of knock-on effects if you're not getting B1. So just make sure you're taking your B1. Leafy greens, whole wheat, eggs, you'll be fine. But we definitely need B1 for our brains. Anyway, so going back to interaction with people with dementia. One of the symptoms of dementia, one of the first things you might see, is lack of communication skills. The communication skills have gone downhill. And what you'll find, Alzheimer's people tend to lose words and they can't say them. They can't remember the right word to say. They stumble on them. They might say the wrong word. You know, I might be asking you for a jar and what I really want is a glass. So sometimes it's usually nouns, naming words, and they get confused with them or they just can't say them. And you'll hear them go, you know, the thing that you put the thing in, and they try and describe it to you because they know they don't have the word. They're very bad on names, remembering people's names. So making sure we're not quizzing them, you know, what's your name, who visited you, what's your daughter's name? Because when I'm asking them to give me nouns, I start to make them frustrated, because in Alzheimer's, left side of the brain, where all of our vocabulary is usually the first hit, and they can't retrieve words very well. Now, the other side of that is in Alzheimer's, if I can't give you a word, I don't understand the word coming in. So if I can't say a word and you're saying it to me, I can't comprehend that word. So comprehension and vocabulary are in the same side of the brain on the left. So what you should do, one of the first things I do whenever I meet someone, if I don't know what dementia they haven't told me they have Alzheimer's, I would make just maybe 2 sentences and then see how they respond to me. I usually say, you know, I've come all the way from Warrington, which is where I live. The roads were good today, it was raining, and that's kind of enough. And then if they say to me, oh, Warrington, you're from, they obviously can retrieve nouns. They understood what I can say and they echoed it back to me. Or they'll say, oh, the roads, I was worried about the rain. I noticed the rain. I thought the roads would be bad. They're making appropriate conversation with you using words. And that's usually an Alzheimer's usually not an Alzheimer's person. An Alzheimer's person will pretend they understand you. So they do a lot of visual communication, and they look at your face really closely because they want to kind of take clues from your face, not really understanding what you say. So I'm going to watch your expressions. And if I, say I came all the way from Warrington and the roads were quite good today. So, oh, well, good. Oh, well, that's good. Oh, well, glad you're here then. That might be somebody with Alzheimer's. Didn't quite get what I said, but responded to my face, maybe responded to one or two words I said, but that was it. So if I have someone who's clearly not good with language, I know to try and cut down my language to them, because the more I talk to them, the more they'll want to answer me, and they can't really do that. So you'll find they get frustrated and want me to go away. And obviously, if we're in there to interact with them, if we're in there to deliver care, we don't want them to kind of close us out. So sometimes it's good just to find out where they are. If you see they're struggling with words, comprehension or speech, just kind of bring your words down low. You're not going to say many of them. And then you're going to communicate with gestures and facial expressions. Make sure that you open your eyes quite wide and you're quite animated in how you talk. Oh, good. Oh, that's really good. Oh, no. I'm going to overemphasize my facial expressions. And I'm also going to do gestures. You and me? Should we go? Yeah. And then also, if, for example, I'm meeting in the toilet or I'm escorting them to the dining room or whatever, I would make, number one, if I was taking them to the toilet, I would probably bring in a half roll of toilet paper. When I work, that's what I do. And I just get a couple of pieces of toilet paper and go, shh, and give it to them and go, with me, should we go? Because I'm communicating non-verbally. They can see that's toilet paper. Usually they have a good grasp on objects. They know what objects are. So I can see toilet paper, and then you're going, you and me, should we go? Yeah. And then also the sign for privacy, shh, no one else, just you and me. Because that then kind of cements all they need to know. It's just you and them. You want to take them to the toilet. If I was going to give them a bath or a wash, I'd have got a towel around my arm and a bar of soap, and I'd go in and give it to them. And then I'd go, wash, time for, yeah, with me, no one else, just you and me. Come on then. So with Alzheimer's, we are going to communicate more with body language than we are with words. We're going to supplement the words with a lot of animated kind of body language, really expressing and gesturing what we need them to do. It's almost like we do similar when we're abroad and we can't speak a language. We tend to do that then, to people. Yeah? That's the type of language skills we need to have with people with Alzheimer's. So you need to be prepared for that. Now, hopefully you can work out, I've got an Alzheimer's person here, not giving me many words, not really responding to me. They're just kind of nodding and going, oh, good, good, good. They're not making conversation. So that would then tell me, let's move into a different mode of interaction here and go to the physical side. Now, it's the opposite in vascular dementia. In vascular dementia, they usually have words. They understand everything you say, and they talk to you a lot. However, they're kind of losing objects, so they tend to get muddled up getting dressed, and they dress wrongly, and they have things inside out or upside down. They might have an object that they picked up and they're just carrying it around. They get angry quite easily. and will vent their anger at you verbally. Oftentimes, with an Alzheimer's person, you have quite, someone who's quite compliant with care. Once you've established a bond, they will do the care with you. However, if you have somebody who's vascular, you almost have an immediate no. I'm fine, I don't need you. No, my daughter's coming in later on tonight. No, you don't have to do anything for me. No, I'm fine, you just go about your way. A vascular person kind of throws you away with words. They put up roadblocks with words to make you go away. And that's gonna be an issue. What we do when we're trying to interact with people with vascular dementia, whereas with Alzheimer's, I would have gone into gestures. With vascular, I have to know something about them because I have to lead with the social, not with the task, not why I'm there, what I can do for you, what I need you to do with me. I can't lead with the task. I'm here to give you a bath. I'm here to take you into the dining room. I'm here to sit and chat to you. Don't lead with the task because they'll just tell you to go away. They'll be giving you words that are telling you, I'm waiting for someone. Someone's coming now. No, you don't bother with me in here. You go and do your other work. I'm fine. And if you're getting that, that is a big barrier. They will say no, and they could use quite vulgar language to you if you're not taking no for an answer. So the key to getting into vascular is, I need to know something about them. And it needs to be something that only a friend would know. It's intimate knowledge. So hopefully you have people you can ask that to. You know, what is it that makes their eyes sparkle, and they when they talk about it, they know a lot about that subject. I need to find out what that thing is. It's really, what are they passionate about? If I can find that subject, it's not necessarily my family. It's not necessarily a hobby or what I did for a living. It's the thing I spent too much money on. It's the thing I learned a lot about because I was interested in it. It's the thing I feel I'm almost a little bit of an expert in. That's what you need to know about them in order to make the connection. So for example, I'm going into 𝗲𝗿𝗄𝗆, and 𝗲𝗿𝗄𝗆 is going to bat me away. Yo, my daughter's coming later, I don't need you. No, I'm fine, leave me. Look after everyone else, I'm okay. She's going to bat me away. What I need to know about 𝗲𝗿𝗄𝗆 is, what was she into? Well, let's say 𝗲𝗿𝗄𝗆 was a crochet knitter type person. She did wonderful kind of baby blankets and bonnets, and she was quite good at any type of knitting. I'm going to go in, if I can, and ask her for advice on knitting. Are you the lady who does the knitting? I've got a question. I've started this new blanket and I'm really having problems with the stitching. It's all starting to kind of go smaller in the middle. What am I doing wrong? If I'm going to her for help, she won't throw me away. She won't make me go away, because I've come to her on her area of expertise. So she'll accept me because she's the one now in power. I've come to her for help, so she will help me. She'll grant me that help. And then when she does, I can say to her, oh, you know what, tell you what, she'll bring it in tomorrow and I'll show you and then you can help me. Well, while I'm here, do you need to maybe go for a little stroll? Should we go for a little walk and see what's going on down the hallway? Well, just while I'm here, you can show me about a bit. I can now start talking her around to do what it is I need her to do with me. But I've got to make the connection with her first. So if it's someone with Alzheimer's, you're going to do gestures, you're going to use props, towel, bar of soap. You're going to use all sorts of things like time for, you and me, all of that. Vascular dementia, you're going to go through a different door. You're going to go through the door of using words, but they're going to be words that are associated with this person. Because once she's got a bond with me, over whatever it is we've talked about, she's going to allow me to take care of her. But without that, I'm not going to get in. And a vascular person is more likely to slap you. They don't really recognize gestures. So if I come in with my arm to help her up out of a chair, she's not sure what I'm doing. So as soon as I get too close, she's going to hit me away. And that's going to then feel like she's a problem. She's got behaviors. Well, she doesn't have behaviors. We just didn't know enough about what we were doing. It's our problem. We didn't know how to do this. And so you need to really know from day one what dementia they have if possible, but more importantly, what door do I go into? And if it's the vascular door where I'm doing a lot of talking with them, then I need to know what their passion was so I can talk about that subject. So that's your interaction, and you know, never expect them to be rational. I can't convince them of something. I'm not going to be able to persuade them. I can't explain to them. You know, I've seen a lot of people going to someone with dementia and explaining, well, I need to give you this medication because it's going to help you with this and this and this. You're going to get sick if you don't take this medication. They don't care. They just don't want to take it. They're not working from a rational chain of thought. So I don't want to take it, so I'm just not going to. It may be that you want to take them to the toilet and you might know that they've had, you know, an accident in their pad by the smell, or you can see it and you need to change them. You can't go in there and lead with, I need to get you changed, because then they feel like an 18-month-old baby. You're talking down to them. Without rationality, I can't understand what really you're saying that to me for. So I will get angry at you because you've now made me feel really embarrassed. So vascular people, we have to lead with the social. And never tell anyone they're dirty. Never tell anyone they're ill. Never tell anyone that they have to do anything. Because those are things that will really cause them to become very angry at us. So it's gently, and we lead them in a gentle manner and just make sure we're going through the right communication door. At the end of the journey, both forms of communication will be gone in all of the dementias, really. And all we'll have left is what we call rhythmic communication, which is music and tone and anything we learnt in a rhyme. It could be prayers, it could be nursery rhymes, anything that we learned in kind of a streamline, almost with a beat to it. It could be our times tables. That will still be there at the end of the journey, because we don't lose rhythmic communication, which is on the right side of our brain. However, we're going to use a lot of music, and we're going to sing to them a lot, and we're going to say poetry with them, we're going to pray with them, and we're going to do that type of thing at the end of the journey. But your problems will come further on. It will be in the earlier stage of the journey and in the middle stage of the journey. You'll have most of your problems getting them to do the things that you want them to do, and they need to have done. However, if you don't have the right tools to work them around to doing it, you will feel like a failure. And a lot of times staff start blaming the residents and saying that, you know, they've got behaviours, they're non-compliant with care. And the fact is, it's us. The carer didn't know enough in order to know how to navigate that situation, because they won't just do anything on command. So that's kind of what you need to know upfront about going in to deliver care or to sit and talk to them, and give any type of companionship with them. What I want to run down to is the symptoms of dementia. I'm sure you all, when I say dementia, you think about memory loss and you think about confusion. And they are on board, but there's other things on board too. So first symptom that they usually have problems with isn't memory, it's communication loss. They're starting to lose the ability to communicate the way they always have. And so that is always going to be a problem, because if families aren't expecting it, if carers don't expect it, it becomes an issue and a barrier. And if you don't think your way through it and around it, it'll remain a barrier. So we don't want to do that. So communication loss, and it will be either left side brain with Alzheimer's, all words and comprehension, or it could be front of our brain with vascular dementia, where we've got all of our kind of visual clues about what we're doing. So they won't understand your body language. They'll be inappropriate with objects, and then you'll know which one they have. It's not that hard to kind of work out. So communication loss, in Lewy body dementia, which is the third most common dementia, they often lose the ability, but they do it in swings and roundabouts. Some days they have a real clear day and they can communicate with you verbally, they're doing really well. Other days they can't. They also lose abilities some days. They can't get dressed, they can't get washed, they can't clean their teeth. Then another day they can. So with a Lewy body person, it's not just a trajectory downhill. They tend to have what we call peaks and troughs, and they go up and down. The more hydrated somebody is with Lewy body, the clearer they are. So if you have anybody with Lewy body, we really want to push fluids, because they do definitely, you see improvement in their cognitive ability. But there are always, with most dementias, a problem with communication. Second one, they time shift. And we have time shifting as a symptom. They tend to go backwards in time and they start living there. So in the early stage, they visit the past a lot. They're telling you repetitive stories from the past. Or they'll say things like, well, I was just saying that to my mother. But then they catch themselves, oh, no, my mother passed on, didn't she? No, it wasn't my mother. I didn't say that to my mother. I don't know why I said that. They actually catch that they did it. By the time they get to the middle stage of the disease process, they are totally living in the past. And they go somewhere between the age of 30 and 10. And those 20 years, scientists call the reminiscence bump. And it's where they go to live. Because in dementia, in all likelihood, your left lobe and your frontal lobe will be having damage. And this is where we all live every day. We live in our left lobe and in our frontal lobe. And that's how we are in reality. That's how we live our lives. We get our jobs done, we go shopping. All the things we do are in these two lobes of our brain. But dementia is going to take them. And so what happens is, as these two lobes are fading and dying out, and literally they will have holes in them, they won't exist at the end of the journey. There won't be any tissue here in our brain. But what the person does is they go back to the back of the brain here, which is where all the long-term memories are, because they can live there. It's almost like, you know, your house is on a cliff edge and it's gradually, little bit by little bit, it's falling over the cliff. And the only room left is the room at the very back of the house. So that's where you're camping out. And that's what happens in dementia. So this is all your long-term emotional memories back here. So they go and live, usually in the most emotional time of their life. And it could be that they've gone back to school. It could be that they've gone back to having a first job, getting married, dating. It could be they've gone back to when they first had their babies. But somewhere between 30 and 10 is where the person with dementia goes to live. And so we have to work that out. What are they talking about? Where are they telling us they are? Who are they looking for? Are they looking for their mum and dad? Are they looking for their baby? Well, when did they first have a baby? We can almost pinpoint it if we just ask ourselves those questions. Are they wanting to go to work? Well, where are they going? If they're telling you they're going to a certain place, well, then ask the family, what age was she when she worked here? Because that's where she thinks she needs to go every morning. And what we want to do then is try and accommodate them within the era they think they are. I can't bring them back to now. The part of the brain that enables them to live in the here and now is not functioning very well. So I have to go back and live in the back of the brain with them. So my mother, you know, might become my nana or my sister. I might become her mother. What will happen is things will all start getting weird. If you've got a resemblance to somebody who lived years ago, one of your relatives years ago, sometimes they make you that person. So instead of you know, maybe you're her son and they're calling you John. And then suddenly your mum's calling you dad. And because you look like your grandfather. And she needs you to be her dad. Because in her brain, she hasn't had any children yet. So in order to keep a love bond with you, she makes you someone she loved back then. So you will see them literally taking a picture and making it into a mosaic. They're using pieces of the here and now and trying to make them fit into the life that they have between the age of 30 and 10. And if you can go along on that journey, and even if you're a carer and they're seeing you as a friend or a school friend or a teacher, whoever they're seeing you as, if you can join in and be that person, you'll find it will be quite a good relationship. Occasionally, you're a man or someone they don't like, or someone who did something to them. And in that case, you would want to talk to, you know, the powers that be, the supervisors, whoever charge people, and say, it's just not working for me with Mrs. Smith, because she sees me as someone she doesn't like. And so I'm not getting any, I can't get through to her. But most of the time, you're kind of slotted in to being someone they were quite fond of years ago. Just accept it. We now, in dementia, we enter their reality. I'm not going to bring them back to our reality, to the real world, because that is emotional abuse now under 𝗶𝗶. So we can't do that anymore. I can't tell them, no, you live here with us now. No, you can't go out because it'll be dangerous. Well, Mum, I'm your daughter. No, I'm your daughter. I can't do that anymore because it's considered emotional abuse under 𝗶𝗶. So what we do is we enter their reality. And wherever they are, that's where we are. And we're the ones that can blend in. We're the ones that can role play. They can't. So that's where we need to be. So find them, be a detective, work out where they are, what they're interested in, what they will be doing, because that will all start making sense to you then. The person they see in the mirror will stop being them. It will be an old woman, an old man, or I've just seen my nan, I've just seen my grandpa in the. They think it's a window and not a mirror because in their head, they don't look like that. They're young. So we enter their world. It's really important that we do that because actually now it is considered emotional abuse if we don't. So be very careful with that one. The next symptom that they have is sleep disorders. And they basically can't sleep the way that we do. So they never get into deep sleep, so they're tired all the time. They do a lot of napping, and occasionally they get into dream sleep, and then they have quite vivid dreams that may carry on even though they're awake, and we think they're hallucinating, but actually the dream's just carrying on with them. They're fully awake, but the dream is still going on in their head. What they can't do is get into deep sleep. And so they are tired all the time. And the last thing we want to do is try and keep them busy in order to make them sleep. Again, a very old idea, particularly in care homes. Keep them busy all day and they'll sleep better at night. 𝗄𝗆𝘆𝗶𝗍𝗶, totally disproven by all the scientists. It's not about whether we keep them busy or not. Got nothing to do with it. They cannot enter deep sleep. And that's because the brain isn't functioning correctly. So no matter how busy we keep them, they will still be up at night because they can't get into the deep sleep cycle. So we need to make sure that we're all keeping up on all of the progress we're learning about dementia constantly. Because I know I go in and out of care homes and day centres and I talk to families a lot. And the amount of knowledge that people are up to date on is not that great because no one's actually keeping up on it. They're not on the computers on the weekends or on their days off having a look at what the latest research is. And really, we should, particularly if I'm in a managerial or charge nurse position, I certainly should be trying to keep up and then letting the staff know, because a lot of people are doing the same care that they were doing 25 years ago. They're doing the same care now and running a care home in the same way as they did 25 years ago. And everything's changed. So we want to make sure that we're keeping up on all of that. So the time shift, really, really important. And we enter their reality. We do not orientate them. Memory loss. You've got 4 memory banks. And one at the front, one at the left, one at the right, and one at the back. And you don't lose all 4. So the one at the front is your tasks, how to do things. And if you've got damage to the front lobe of your brain, you're probably not good at doing tasks because you've forgotten how to do them. You might start to do something and then you get lost in the middle. So I often hear about people, they're packing a bag and then they get half of their clothes out and then they just wander off and leave everything because they just got lost. I once had a gentleman who I gave his toothbrush to him to brush his teeth. I turned around to get something and when I turned back, he was cleaning the toilet with the toothbrush. He just got lost in his tasks. He was back in the army, cleaning the toilet. So you will see a disruption in task memory. If the front lobe is damaged, then the tasks won't be easy for them to do. And there's no relearning. You can't relearn them to do tasks. No matter what anyone will tell you, you can't. And then we've got music memory, goes nowhere. Long-term memory at the back, goes nowhere. This is all your IQ and your rationality. And unfortunately, that's the other damage center. So we lose task memory and we lose rationality, logic, able to think things through. So they're the symptoms of dementia. Hopefully, I've kind of explained how to interact with them. And so when you go and you're working or you're volunteering with people with dementia, hopefully this has given you a little bit of an update and insight as to where you should be and what you're doing. So thank you all for listening, and go out there and enjoy being with people with dementia. They're an absolute delight. If you get it right, you have a really happy day. So good luck, everyone. Okay, goodbye.